Hi folks, join us in this Rambles with Robin and Ruby video, Season 2023, Episode 21, as we continue our drive along the Dempster Highway from Eagle Plains to Tombstone Territorial Park and ultimately to Dawson City, Yukon. After spending a night in Eagle Plains, we continue south along the Dempster Highway to Tombstone Territorial Park and finally Dawson City. We wanted to spend at least one night in Tombstone Territorial Park to break up the trip because the Dempster Highway was in such poor condition and to hike the Goldensides Mountain Trail. We finally got to see one moose at Two Moose Lake, a treat for us. Enjoy! Note that the land we traveled across on this leg of our journey lies within the homelands of the Gwich'in and the Tombstone First Nation peoples. Along our drive south, we stopped at the Ogilvie Ridge Lookout for a break. The weather was excellent, and the Richardson Mountains to the east were clearly visible. After a snack, we launched again south for the lake to Tombstone Territorial Park. The drive through the Ogilvie Mountains never disappoints. The mountains are a distinctive gray color, typical of limestone and dolostone rock. On the tops and sides of the gray limestone mountains are distinctive rock towers that stand high. Some look like castles. Geologists call these features tors. They form when areas of hard rock remain standing when the softer adjacent rock is eroded away by rain, ice, and wind over millions of years. The presence of tors is one line of evidence that tells geologists that these mountains were never covered by ice sheets during the last ice age. Had they been covered by ice sheets, these delicate tors would surely have been eroded away. Further into the Ogilvie Mountains, you catch a look at an unusual red-colored creek. I have a previous video of this creek and its red color that I will list in the video description. The distinctive red color of the creek is most easily seen where the Red Creek joins the Ogilvie River. The Red Creek has its distinctive red-brown color because metals that were leached from the groundwater in the country rock are now dissolved in the water. When the metal-rich groundwater reaches the land surface, it reacts with the air and the metals precipitate or fall out of the water, giving it a red-brown color and an orange stain on the river cobbles. Eventually we crossed Windy Pass, where the Dempster Highway reaches its high point through the Ogilvie Mountains. This treeless subalpine landscape is considered to be the same now as it was 100,000 years ago or more. As an aside, on our first visit along the Dempster Highway, back in the year 2007, we hiked the mountain ridge line in the Windy Pass area. The view was stunning. I even got to see a small tor up close and personal. As a geologist, the ridge hike was interesting because this land had not been covered by an ice sheet glacier during the last ice age. As a result, the land surface is covered by irregularly shaped rock debris created by freeze-thaw weathering. I confess it was a hard hike, and we were constantly aware that it was easy to twist an ankle or worse. As another aside, it always amazes me to see wildflowers growing on these limestone ridges and slopes, given the harsh conditions. One example is Calder's bladderpod, Physaria calderi, which I recall is restricted to the Ogilvie and Richardson Mountains. Naked-stemmed wallflower and alpine sandwort are two other examples of delicate but robust wildflowers that grow in the hostile conditions of these limestone mountains. Soon after we crossed the Windy Pass, we passed one of our favorite boondocking sites, where we had camped in June of 2023 and hiked up the adjacent mountain ridge. And then, almost instantly, we left the Ogilvie Mountains and headed out onto the Blackstone uplands and continued south towards Tombstone Territorial Park. Our drive south was uneventful until we reached Two Moose Lake, where our grandsons saw their first live moose in the wild. Apparently, moose are not abundant on the Blackstone upland, a reality that we can personally confirm. We have passed Two Moose Lake 6 times since our first visit in the year 2007, and this is the first time we have seen a moose in the lake. Needless to say, it was exciting. We arrived at Tombstone Mountain Campground, where we set up camp. Although the campground has 36 sites, it is not uncommon to see the campground full. However, there is overflow car, trailer, and RV camping in the main parking lot outside the information building. After a little effort, our camp was set up. After we set up camp, Brayden and I headed out for a quick hike along the Goldensides Mountain Trail. The first part of the trail is an easy walk along a gravel road that accesses a communication tower. The trail then continues through a subalpine shrub meadow. Tombstone Mountain is easily seen from here, although weather can be fickle at times. The trail wanders along the bottom south flank of Goldensides Mountain onto two rocky knolls where the trail ends. From the end of the trail, there's an excellent view of the Tombstone Mountain campground below. At the trail end, we had a snack before heading down to the trailhead. So it's July 21, Friday, and Brayden and I have just done the Goldensides trail to the lookout, second lookout, and we're now headed back. Along the return, the view north of the Dempster Highway, winding its way over the subalpine uplands, is a reminder of the route traveled north to Tuktoyaktuk. So we've just finished the Goldensides hike, and as far as we got were the two bald spots right here. Those are the two lookout pieces. Apparently you can hike up to Goldensides, but it really is a scramble. And we're not into that tonight. Now on the way down, it's actually an easy start and an easy ending, because the road that you see here is, we assume, built to service the microwave tower that is sitting just on the north side of the trail. Later that evening, after returning from the Goldensides Mountain hike and after dinner, Adrien, Brayden, and I walked along the North Klondike River hiking trail to check it out. The next morning, we left Tombstone Mountain Campground and headed south. We completed our travel along the Dempster Highway, where it intersected with the Klondike Highway at Klondike Corners. Well, that completes our trip with our grandsons from Dawson City, Yukon to Tuktoyaktuk, Northwest Territories, and return. I consider this to be one of Canada's most amazing road trips. I'm hesitant to say this is our last trip to Tuktoyaktuk because we've already done this trip 6 times since the year 2007. And who knows, perhaps we'll find a reason to do the trip just one more time. Or maybe this really is our last trip to Tuk. From Klondike Corners, we headed along the Klondike Highway to Dawson City, where we did the ceremonial car wash at the Bonanza Gold Motel and RV Park. We then headed into Dawson City to our campsite at the Gold Rush Campground. It really was a hot day in Dawson City, so we enjoyed our dinner while hiding in the shade beside the trailer. That evening, we headed up to the Midnight Dome for the mandatory look over the Klondike River, the Yukon River, and Dawson City. And did I mention it was hot? I almost never wear shorts in the summer. The fact that I am wearing shorts in this photo, and Adrien has his pant legs rolled up, is a testament to the very high temperature in Dawson City that evening. In fact, it was 28 degrees Celsius, or 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, it's Saturday, July 22. We're at the Midnight Dome in Dawson City. We drove from we drove from Tombstone Territorial Park to Dawson this morning, and we're just going to do our highs and lows. So that's one part of the Yukon River in the distance. Actually, if we just swing back, other than the motorcycle you hear in the background, across the valley you can see a lot of white material, and that's the white quartz cobbles that are quite distinctive and were an important marker during the gold rush days. They're also used as landscaping material, not only in Dawson City area, but shipped elsewhere.
So I think my high today would be arriving here at the Midnight Dome, because it's a very good view. And I think my low will not be mosquitoes, but it will be the heat, because there's no mosquitoes here, but it is extremely hot.
First day with no mosquitoes are the lows. Okay, Adrien, your highs and lows.
And my highlight is probably arriving at Gold Rush, because it's my favorite campground that we've gone to on this trip so far. And the low light also is the heat, because it's really hot, even though I'm wearing a long sleeve. But
okay, so it's Saturday, July 22, and we're going to do the drawing of the map. We are in Dawson City, so we're going to pass the mic over to Brayden, who's going to draw the route that we took yesterday.
Okay, so yesterday we stopped at Dempster Junction to get gas, and then we drove down to Dawson City.
That was an enormously long and painful day.
Yes, it was.
But that was the completion of our nearly 2,000 kilometers driving the Dempster Highway from Dawson City all the way up to Inuvik, and then from Inuvik to Tuktoyaktuk, which is up here on the Arctic Ocean, and then all the way back to Dawson Creek. Dawson City. That was a long and bumpy ride. I end this video by sharing a few photos of our return trip from Dawson City, Yukon to Tuktoyaktuk, Northwest Territories. The photos highlight the trip along the Dempster Highway and the Inuvik-Tuktoyaktuk Highway. We left Dawson City on July 15, 2023 and returned on July 22, 2023. It was a memorable trip for our grandsons Brayden and Adrien, and it was a memorable trip for us.